If you're a solo builder, freelancer, or one-person startup operator grinding through 60-hour weeks, this one's for you. Because 6 months ago, I was drowning. Client emails piling up, half-finished automations, a Notion board that looked like a crime scene, and a revenue number that hadn't moved in 3 months. I didn't need more hustle. I needed use. So I did something that felt a little crazy at the time. I hired an AI builder to systematically rebuild how I work. Not a VA. Not a contractor. A specialist whose entire job was to map my workflows and replace the slow parts with AI. And what happened over the next 90 days genuinely surprised me. So here's the thing. Here's the question I want you sitting with for the next 10 minutes. What's actually eating your time, and what would it be worth to get it back? Because most solo operators I talk to can't answer that. They're busy, sure. But busy doing what, exactly? That's the thread we're pulling on today. We're going to walk through the exact audit process my AI builder used, the specific tools he wired together, the revenue impact after 90 days, and the one thing that almost blew the whole system up. Stick around for that last part, it's the part nobody talks about. Okay, so, Chapter 1. The audit. Before my AI builder touched a single tool, he spent the first week just watching how I worked. Not literally watching, but he had me run a time tracking sprint using Toggle Track for 5 days straight. Every task, every context switch, every rabbit hole. And the results were brutal. Out of a 52-hour workweek, only 14 hours were what he called revenue-generating activity. The rest? Admin, back-and-forth emails, reformatting deliverables, manually posting content, chasing invoices, and, I'm not proud of this, about 4 hours of just searching for files I'd already made. That's a 73% efficiency bleed. And I had no idea. So here's what the audit actually looked like in practice. My builder dropped a shared Notion database, he called it the bottleneck map. Every task I logged in Toggle got categorized into one of 4 buckets: create, communicate, organize, or repeat. The repeat bucket is where it gets interesting. Those are tasks you do more than 3 times a week that follow the same pattern every single time. For me, that bucket had 11 items in it. 11 recurring tasks eating roughly 22 hours a week. Client onboarding emails. Weekly report formatting. Social post scheduling. Invoice generation. Meeting summaries. Each one of those is a candidate for automation. And that's exactly where we started. Chapter 2, The Build. Now this is where most people go wrong when they try to DIY their AI stack. They start with the sexiest tool instead of the highest use problem. My builder did the opposite. He ranked every item in the repeat bucket by 2 things: time cost per week, and revenue impact if removed. And the winner wasn't what I expected. It wasn't content creation. It was client onboarding. Every new client I brought on required about 2.5 hours of manual work: welcome emails, contract sending, intake form follow-up, Slack channel setup, first deliverable briefing. Multiply that by 4 new clients a month and you've got 10 hours gone before you've done a single billable thing. So here's the exact stack he built for onboarding. When a new client signs a contract in Honeybook, that triggers a Zapier workflow. Zapier fires off a personalized welcome email, written by Claude, customized with the client's name, project type, and start date, pulled directly from the Honeybook fields. Simultaneously, it creates a Notion client workspace from a template, generates a Slack channel, and sends the intake form via Typeform. If the intake form isn't completed within 48 hours, a follow-up email goes out automatically. No manual touch. 0. The whole thing took about 6 hours to build and test. And it immediately gave me back 10 hours a month, every single month going forward. But that was just the first automation. The second one hit different. I was spending about 6 hours a week writing and scheduling social content. LinkedIn posts, short-form breakdowns, the occasional thread. My builder set up a make.com scenario that pulls from a content brief I drop into a shared Google Doc. Claude reads the brief, generates 3 post variations in my voice, and yes, we spent 2 sessions fine-tuning that system prompt to actually sound like me, then pushes the drafts into a buffer queue for my review. I spend maybe 20 minutes approving or tweaking. That's it. 6 hours down to 20 minutes. And here's the part that surprised me, the AI drafted posts were actually performing better. Because the system prompt forced structure, hook, insight, proof, CTA. Every time. Okay, quick recap before we go deeper, because I want this to actually land. In the first 4 weeks, we automated 2 workflows, client onboarding and content creation. Combined time savings, roughly 14 hours a week. That's not a small number. That's almost 2 full working days handed back to me every single week. And we hadn't touched invoicing, reporting, or meeting summaries yet. So, what do you do with 14 extra hours when you're a solo operator? You either rest, which you probably need, or you redirect that capacity toward the work that actually moves revenue. I did a bit of both. But mostly I redirected. And that's where the revenue story starts. Chapter 3, The Revenue Impact. By month 2, I'd taken on 2 additional clients. Not because I hustled harder, because I had the capacity. My onboarding was automated, my content was running on autopilot, and my mental bandwidth wasn't completely torched by 5 p.m. Those 2 clients added $4,200 a month in recurring revenue. My AI builder's fee for the engagement was $2,800 total, a one-time project fee. So by the end of month 2, the system had already paid for itself and then some. But here's where it gets more interesting. Because the third automation my builder shipped was the one that changed how I think about use entirely. Meeting summaries. I know, sounds boring. But I was doing 8 to 12 client calls a week, and after every call I was manually writing a summary, pulling out action items, and sending a follow-up email. That's about 30 to 45 minutes per call. My builder connected Fireflies.ai to my Google Calendar. Every meeting gets auto-joined, transcribed, and summarized. Then a make.com scenario takes that summary, runs it through a GPT-4o prompt that extracts action items in a specific format, and drafts a follow-up email that lands in my Gmail drafts within 5 minutes of the call ending. I review it, hit send. The whole thing takes me 2 minutes instead of 40. Across 12 calls a week, that's roughly 7 hours back. Every week. So let's do the math, because this is the part one wants you to actually feel. Before the AI builder engagement, 52-hour weeks, 14 hours of revenue-generating work, 3 months of flat revenue. After 90 days, 38-hour weeks. I actually work less now, with 26 hours of revenue-generating work. That's an 85% increase in productive output without adding a single hour. Revenue went from $8,400 a month to $14,200 a month. That's a 69% jump. And my stress level, which I can't put a number on but I can tell you it was affecting my sleep, dropped significantly. Because when your systems are running, you stop carrying the cognitive weight of remembering everything. Now, Chapter 4. The thing that almost broke everything. Because I promised you this part and I'm not going to skip it. Around week 6, one of my automations misfired. The Claude-powered onboarding email went out to a new client with the wrong project type pulled from Honeybook. It said Brand Identity Project when they'd hired me for a content strategy retainer. The client noticed immediately. It was awkward. Not catastrophic, but awkward. And it forced me to confront something important: automation without a review layer is a liability. My builder and I added what he called a confidence gate, a step in the Zapier workflow that sends me a Slack notification with the draft email before it fires, giving me a 15-minute window to catch errors. One extra step saved the whole system. And honestly, that failure taught me the most important lesson of this whole experience. AI automation isn't about removing yourself from the process. It's about removing yourself from the boring, repetitive, low-judgment parts, while keeping yourself in the loop on anything that touches a client relationship or involves a decision. The best automations I have now all follow the same pattern: AI does the heavy lifting, I do the final check, and the system handles the delivery. That's the framework. And it's the reason I can run a $14,000 a month solo business in 38 hours a week without a team. Chapter 5: How to Find and Hire an AI Builder. Because I know that's what you're wondering. First, let's be clear about what an AI builder actually is. They're not a software developer in the traditional sense. They're a workflow architect, someone who understands no-code and low-code tools like Make, Zapier, N8N, and Airtable, knows how to prompt AI models effectively, and can map a business process and identify where automation creates use. You can find them on Contra, TopTal, or even LinkedIn if you search AI Automation Specialist or No-Code Workflow Builder. Expect to pay between $75 and $200 an hour for someone good, or a project fee in the $1,500 to $5,000 range for a defined scope. When you're vetting candidates, ask them 3 things. 1. Walk me through a workflow you've built end-to-end. What triggered it? What tools did you use? And what was the measurable outcome? 2. How do you handle errors and edge cases in automations? If they don't immediately mention error handling and review layers, that's a red flag. And 3. How do you document what you build so I can maintain it myself? Because the goal isn't dependency, it's ownership. You want to understand what's running in your business, even if you didn't build it. A good AI builder hands you a Loom walkthrough and a written SOP for every automation they ship. And if you're not ready to hire someone yet, or the budget isn't there, here's the DIY version of what I described. Start with the toggle time audit. 5 days, track everything. Then build your own bottleneck map in Notion, for columns: create, communicate, organize, repeat. Anything in repeat that takes more than 2 hours a week is your first automation target. Go to make.com, start a free account, and look for a pre-built template that matches your use case. Make has over 1,000 templates. You're probably not building from scratch. And use Claude or GPT-4o to help you write the system prompts for any AI step in your workflow. Describe what you need in plain English. The model will help you refine it. Look, the honest truth is that hiring an AI builder was one of the highest ROI decisions I made last year. Not because AI is magic, but because having someone whose entire job was to look at my workflows with fresh eyes and ask, "Why are you still doing this manually?" forced me to confront inefficiencies I'd normalized. We normalize our bottlenecks. We call them just part of the job. And then we wonder why we're working 60-hour weeks and not growing. The tools exist. The builders exist. The only thing missing is the decision to actually do it. Here's your one action for today, and I mean today, not someday this week. Open Toggle Track, create a free account, and start tracking your time right now. Not tomorrow. Today. Run it for 5 days without changing anything about how you work. Just observe. At the end of those 5 days, you'll have data. And data kills excuses. You'll see exactly where your time is going, and you'll know exactly what to automate first. That's the move. 5 days of tracking, then you build. If you want to see the exact make.com scenario I use for meeting summaries, The one that saves me 7 hours a week. I'm breaking that down step by step in the next video. Don't miss it.